And we'd like to welcome you to Water Talk, brought to you by Water Pros, our good friend Paul Dowding in studio, also known as Paul the Waterman, joins us today. Paul, is that you and a few of your friends singing their quartet?
Yeah, that's us, all right.
Well, you sound good, bud. You sound good. Yeah.
Hey, hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Yeah, we made it again through another
week. Yep, absolutely. And I want to start by saying, hey, red alert, red alert, red alert. Our water quality, microplastics are in our water. Can you believe it? Microplastics. So the rain that we had, they did samples, and there's plastic, microplastic beads.
All right, now break that down and for us folks from Texas.
Okay, so what it really means, right, for everybody that's in the Panhandle, Midwest, Colorado, Pac-12, ACC, Big Ten, SEC, right, is that we have a serious issue in our water supply. Microplastics were something that was used for a brief time, and I think once they realized it was a mistake, they tried to put a kibosh to it. But it was those little fine plastics they used in soap, beads, and help for washing, and in the wash machine and the detergents. And these microplastic beads were supposed to help, clean the clothes better. And they have they put some of these little plastic beads in your toothpaste to, with brushing your teeth and getting the gunk out of your, off your teeth and the animal, buildup. But it was an article that my wife Colleen saw through our Alexa, app, and it's like a news story. And I was like, what? Because I forgot all about it. And sure enough, you ask Alexa about microplastics, and there is the whole story. Especially, it's found in rainwater here in Colorado. So it adds to the story of problem water. It's there. It's emerging more and more every day. I think we find new contaminants that we need to be concerned about.
Yeah, because as technology improves, different ways to look into things, so to speak, we're going to find more and more, probably, aren't we?
Well, it's just like I was meeting with somebody, today, and I mentioned, with you, the forever chemical contamination. This amazes me. It shows that people don't watch the news, because you sent me two different clips on different, the CBS station, the Fox station, and I think the NBC station, right, on news, that were talking about the forever chemical contamination in the water supply. One of them was even talking about lead in the water supply. Okay, so I talked to a lady today. She came in and she wanted to, to talk to me about some projects she has, and she had no clue what was going on with problem water. And she's actually in the age group that we want to talk to, right? 35 on up, right?
Sure.
That, homeowners. And my question was, how come you were unaware of the forever chemical concern? And I think what's going on, what it tells me, is that people are tuning out news. It's there.
There's not much good news.
No.
So you know what? I think you're 100% right.
And I think they realize that a lot of it is politically motivated, politically driven, and so they're not listening. And so, I think the only ones that are really hearing the message are the ones that are spewing the message. Because I think everybody else is ignoring it.
Sure.
So, and that, because it just amazes me. Then we saw on the news, and you pointed out, you were kind enough, and I really appreciate your help on everything.
Oh, you bet.
The Fountain, Colorado, in the Air Force, they did the a $9 million?
Man, yeah, I think it was $9 million
on the water treatment. And so what they're using, they're using an anion filter media to remove, which is proven method to remove the forever chemical, but they're not softening it. So they're using, it's, in long story short, all that media, it's worthless. It's nothing. If you don't have, and the reason why I know they're not softening it, because we have customers that call us on a weekly basis that live in Fountain, Colorado, that have extreme hard water. And we put in a system just yesterday in Fountain, Colorado, that extremely hard water. We had to also help replace their hot water heater. And we put in a reverse osmosis drinking water system to help with the forever chemicals. So what this tells me is that if you're trying to use anion resin to remove the PFAS from the water supply, and you're have hard water, you're wasting your time and it's not going to work. And it doesn't surprise me because the federal government is involved.
Exactly. So really, I mean, and we've said this every show, but man, I just want to drive it home. Once you come out and determine if there's hard, I mean, if they got soft water, we don't have to go there. But if there's hard water, that's what you've got to fix first.
Absolutely correct. It all starts with fixing the hard water. Hardness is, is calcium carbonate. So hard water is a liquid. As it oxidizes, air comes in contact with it. It converts to a scale. It's a rock that will build up in any filtration. I was at the house another day and pointed out to folks that, they have a refrigerator filter and there's hard water deposits, and that's proof positive right there that there's no such thing as a salt-free water softener. Hardness will pass through any kind of carbon filter. It'll build up on the inside of the carbon filter, on the outside of the carbon filter, and make it useless. And then that's when we mentioned before, if you go to, if you're home or you go to a friend's home that has a water dispenser inside the refrigerator and you see the calcium deposits, the white buildup, that shows you right there that hardness is overtaking the system. And so, and that will definitely affect the taste of the water. And then you'll get mildewy buildup. Because that's what, if you're from the Midwest, I came from Illinois, and we had dehumidifiers. And when a dehumidifier was getting full time to empty the water, it smelled mildewy. And so that's exactly what happens. You get that calcium buildup, and it's constantly in a wet water environment. That's one of the recourses, and that's the first thing you notice when hard water is overrunning your home.
Mm-hmm. We had a gentleman on the other day from Lazy Days RV, and we were talking about RVs and things, and I got a text in from someone that just now reminded me. They asked, are there any type of filters that you can use on any kind of RV when you hook up places?
Yeah, we can customize the system. We do it's we call it a mini water softener, where we could set it up where you could hook it up with a conventional garden hose.
Right. That
can also help with the hard water, the calcium, and also we can put an inline carbon filter for taste, total chlorine content.
Okay.
So yeah, it can be done, and you can also, it'll function, like a regular water softener. You want to plug it in so the computer can monitor, and it's self-cleaning. So we absolutely.
Take you introducing to them.
Yeah,
we put water softeners in RVs.
Drinking water reverse osmosis will fit. Yeah, it's like. One of the things with all this rain we're getting, and I'm really grateful for that, right? And it's beautiful to look outside, see all the green trees, and last night during the basketball game, they showed the mountains are so green. It's like, really this is. I think you're in Ireland or something, right? It's beautiful. But one of the things is well water quality, well tables are going to change. You're going to have some problems that are going to occur because over a long period of time, drought, and so water resources, if you're looking at a well or an aquifer, as the level's lower, then it's kind of like what you see the pictures of Lake Mead. You see the different layers of where the water lines were, and so all that soil or rock dries because it's not moisture.
Right.
So when you reintroduce water to it, first thing it does, it takes a little bit, but once that starts dissolving again, that can create other water issues. It can create, iron content. It can create turbidity, which is floaty dirt. So, I'm not surprised we're getting, phone calls and, well quality has changed. It can create, a sulfur, a bed that could get moist and create a rotten egg smell in the water. So there's just a lot of things to expect. Because of the moisture that we're receiving.
Right. Paul Dowding is our guest once again, brought to you by Water Pros. Their number 303-862-5554, and Paul is always kind enough to offer our listeners a free in-home water test. And all you have to do is call 303-862-5554. What is that in the water when sometimes you get that sulfury egg kind of smell?
So
you never forget it when you smell it.
Right. So sulfite bacteria is something that is common.
Good. No, go ahead. Okay, I hit something there. Go ahead.
All right, sorry
My
about
bad.
that. That was me. I pushed the button by mistake, guys.
I tried to take the blame for you. See, I said my bad.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
All right.
I was blaming Charlie.
Yeah.
So it's sulfur. So sulfur, you can have sulfite bacteria and iron bacteria. It's not harmful, but what that is that it's like any bacteria. They breed and multiply, and then that helps create the odor. And sulfur itself is black, and then iron is a ferrous iron or clear water iron. And when that oxidizes and builds up in your aerators, that can create a smell. So the most common issue is ferrous iron oxidizing, and then you get the orange rust stain that can create what people think is the sulfur. Hydrogen sulfide gas is a separate issue, but it's a problem, and that's where when you turn on the water faucet, the gas just leaks out of that faucet and just fills up the room with a horrendous odor. And then regular sulfur can be liquid black in form, and it can also be physical sulfur in chunks. And if it's in chunks and that gets on the aerators are basically restrictor plates, and so it's to restrict water flow. They do that. They don't make separate faucets or separate appliances for well water and city water. So really, if you have your own well, you don't need a restrictor plate, right? I mean, you wouldn't think you would want to be concerned with one.
So there are some advantages to being on well water.
Right.
Okay.
And so if you have a restrictor plate, what that does is that's designed for city water to increase water pressure but eliminate water flow, right? Water conservation. But that in itself was where contamination, water contamination, meaning, sulfur and iron and sulfur bacteria and iron bacteria can build up. And it's a bacteria when it's not in all the faucets. It's like it affects one faucet more than the other.
Okay, gotcha.
And so the easy way to tell what you have is you pull the lid off the toilet tank, because water inside that holding tank of the toilet, that'll tell you exactly what's going on in your water system, right? And meaning what's built up in the hot water heater, what's built up inside the pipes. And that'll tell you if it's black and slimy, well, you've got sulfur and sulfur bacteria. And if you got little white floaties on the top of the toilet, same with iron content, it can, be the same. So it's easy to fix, with the right filtration system. And you want to incorporate an ultraviolet light, because I can remove the sulfur or I can remove the iron, but if you don't treat the bacteria, you're still going to have an issue. Right. So the ultraviolet light, or UV filtration, we abbreviate, that kills the bacteria. And so
People must be amazed when you come there and you see that where it's just horrific, and then you do your thing, and then you open it up the next time, there they do, and it's clear. I mean,
we were out in the rural area last week by the airport, and folks were. I met with them and pulled off the back lid in their toilet tank, and that's exactly what you see is the floaties, and that's that's bacteria. The colonies, when they breed and they multiply in the toilet, that's usually because they eat off the sulfur along the walls of the toilet, and that's where you get that foam sliminess. When they build up in the shower head, that's something where they found a nook or cranny that they can hide in, and so then it just creates that odor. And in some faucets you don't smell it, and others that you do, and that's just because it's not uniform. But if you have H2S gas, then that's in every single faucet no matter what you do. And so that requires specific filtration for the H2S gas, because it's hydrogen sulfide gas can be really nasty smelling. And so you want to treat that with a special filtration media that's designed to grab that. There's some theories out there where they have what's called aeration filtration. But the problem with that is the filter media that they use with that aeration filtration is so doggone heavy that it doesn't backwash, so you don't rinse properly. So all that sulfur, iron, can build up in that filter media, and then you can get, in most cases, the water from those filtration systems are worse than if you had water coming directly from your well unfiltered.
Gotcha. Paul the Waterman is with us. Once again, their number 303-862-5554. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more with Paul right after this.